Welcome to Sheepdog Nation Podcast, the only place on the internet where law enforcement and their families can come to be understood, supported, and stood up for. Here's your host, the always entertaining, down-to-earth, yet in-your-face truth speaker and Leo herself, Autumn Schmidt.
What is up, Sheepdog Nation? Welcome to another podcast with your host, me, Autumn Schmidt. I'm really excited to have you here. Today, we are having a conversation with a sergeant. You may or may not know him. He's pretty well known on Instagram. Sgt Harris of the Middle Tennessee Sheriff's Department down there. He's going to explain to us a little bit more about that because I'm up in Maine and don't know a whole lot about what's going on down there other than his southern drawl. And I'm really excited to introduce you to him and have this conversation with him. Welcome, Sergeant. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I'm wicked excited to have you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm Sgt Harris, or you can call me Brandon. I've been working for a sheriff's department in Middle Tennessee, just south of Nashville, for the past 23 years. I started my career as a correctional officer working in the jail at the department I work at, and I did that for about 2 years. After a little while, I was promoted to transport officer, which basically is still a correctional officer. You just don't have to stay at the jail all day. We would take the inmates to court, to their doctor's appointments, to prison, things like that.
So let me ask you something. So, because I did that. So,
Okay.
I live in the state of Maine, and so I was actually deputized, and I was a transport deputy. So up here is like a little bit of that common ground, kind of like what you're talking about. But so did you have to do any transports like by yourself, or was it always like a 2-person operation, or?
Well, for the most part, you were always working with other people. Well, as far as taking the inmates to court and to doctor's appointments, the only time that you were ever by yourself is if you were just with one person, or maybe even two. But we always try to keep everybody in teams. So
That's smart.
Yeah, but the department I'm at, of course, it's grown in the past 23 years. But I listened to some of your interviews that you had with some of your previous guests, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not Dallas, and this is not Detroit. Some people might call it a podunk department, but we're not large like that, but we're not small like Mayberry. But anyway, we try to keep at least 2 people together, but it's not always feasible.
No, and I agree. And the reason I bring that up is I just have to tell you. So doing transport that's how I started I started my career in court security, but then I moved to transport, and without any training. And they would send me with a van full of inmates, 10 to 12 males. And I would go all by myself, like all over creation. And looking back, I'm like, how unsafe was that? And like that started a lot of my anxiety because they were trying to tip the van. I had one guy back there puking because he wanted me to stop so that they could get out, Oh, crazy shit. So anyway, so keep going. So you worked for transport.
Well, one question though, did you guys take, like, say, the mentally ill to facilities such as that, like if they needed to be institutionalized or whatnot? In Tennessee, and I'm sure it's different in other states, but in Tennessee, it's the sheriff's responsibility, if there is someone at a hospital, to transport these people to mental facilities. Is it like that in Maine?
No.
Okay. Well, we do. But, oh, dude, there was this one time, and I'll be real quick with it, but there was this one time I was taking this person to a mental facility. And most of the time, it's people that, they're off their medicine. They need to get their medicine readjusted. Some of these people are unfortunately suicidal. Some of them are just, they've got a serious imbalance, and they need medical treatment. So I was taking this one up to Nashville at one of the facilities, and seriously, the entire time was their face was pushed up against the cage of my car, and I kept looking in the rearview mirror, and it was like 3 a.m. Like, I'm tired as shit, and I've got this person looking at me the whole time, staring at my rearview mirror, and I'm looking at them. And have you ever seen the movie The Exorcist?
Yes.
Yeah, for real. That's the scariest shit, honestly, in my entire career that I ever had to deal with. I don't like demons, right? And I thought I had a demon in my car.
That's hilarious.
But anyway, all right. So after I did the whole transportation thing, I was finally promoted to patrol deputy. That's what I wanted from the beginning. But I knew going into this career, I was too young to be a patrol deputy at the time. I think you said up there, and I could be wrong, up there you can be 18. Is that right?
No, I think so.
That's in Detroit.
Yes, that was Detroit. Yeah.
Okay.
So Maine, you've got to be 20 with 60 college credited hours.
Gotcha. Well, you have to be 21 in Tennessee, regardless.
Okay.
So starting in the jail was, getting my foot in the door.
Were you 18 when you started there?
I was 20.
Oh, 20. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I finally got promoted to patrol deputy, and I did that for 7 years. And in 2005, I was promoted to patrol sergeant, and here I am. Yeah. Well, and during that time too, I was on our SWAT team. Some people call it SRT, CERT teams, whatever. I was on our SWAT team for roughly 9 years. And before I got off of it, I was the assistant team leader. But my heart just wasn't in it anymore. And I knew there was a lot of other people that really wanted to get on the team. And I was basically just taking up space, you know. So I finally just kind of gave that up and, whatever.
Yeah, but to have the humility to do that says a lot, because a lot of people will just hold down a position like that because they know other people want it, you know?
Some people get in there and, it's basically just a status. It's like, well, I can tell everybody I'm on the SWAT team. I got cool automatic weapons and whatever, I've been there, had a good time doing it, but I was done.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Like, so I don't know if it'd be like on that team. Okay. And then other than the demon incident, can you tell us about, like, have you ever had, like, what's the most stressful situation you've ever been in?
Early on in my career, I was extremely proactive, and I'm sure that there's quite a bit of things that happened on the job that was extremely stressful. But one of the things that really sticks out, and I can't remember the exact year, I'm wanting to say it was somewhere around 2000. I was working the night shift, which in my career, my 23-year career, I've worked night shift about 16 of those years.
Oh my goodness. Bless your soul.
Yeah, believe me, I don't care anything about going back. I mean, it's cool, but yeah, I've got a life. But anyway, this one night, the tones went off on our radios. And of course, as you know, when that happens, it's typically some really bad stuff. Well, the call had come out that there was a barricaded gunman in one of the local bars, and he had just shot one of the city police officers in the town that this was occurring in. So, of course, we all go, and of course, as you're going there, you just think of scenarios like, what is this guy doing? What is this problem? Why is he in the bar? Why does he have all these hostages? Why did he shoot the police officer, And when I get there, is he going to come out? And if he does, this is what I need to do. You start thinking of the what ifs. And so there was one guy that was on the shift that I was on at the time. He arrived first and was able to get the injured officer to safety, and went in and shouldn't have done this, but it's not my place to really Monday morning quarterback, but he went in and challenged the gunman by himself. Of course, we all show up shortly after this, and he's starting to retreat because the man is he didn't have a good view of him in the bar. Well, like I said, we all show up. And as I'm going towards the deputy that's close to the bar, I look over at his patrol car, and he had a rider. He had somebody that was doing a ride along with him, right? And they were right there in the middle of everything. Like, did not need to be there. So, of course, I get this person out, take her across the street to safety to a convenience store, stay here, go back over. And the town that we had responded to is a small town, and they only have 2 officers on it at a time. So the one officer that got shot is being taken off to the hospital, and his sergeant is in the parking lot in his vehicle. Like, I can't really explain why he's still in his car, but he is. So anyway, this man comes out and starts popping off rounds with a shotgun.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. So we've got an active shooter. He's not shooting anybody in the bar. We don't hear anything going on in the bar except for yelling. But periodically he would come out and he would just take pop shots at us. Right. So we, of course, take cover, and we decide that we call out our SWAT team. And it's sort of weird where the place is, because it's where 2 of the cities in our county meet, literally. I mean, so you've got one jurisdiction that responded, one city jurisdiction, you got another city jurisdiction that responded, and then you have us, the sheriff's department. So
a clusterfuck.
It's a huge clusterfuck. And the larger city in our county, of course, they're there, and they're like, yeah, we're going to call our SWAT team out. And I'm like, well, hold up. I just got off the phone with my sheriff, and he said, we're going to call our SWAT team out. So it's a pissing contest, right? It's like, who gives a shit? Just get the guys out here, and let's take care of this problem. So eventually our SWAT team shows up, and they start to do their thing. We take cover, we let them do their job. But of course, we still have eyes on the door. Well, the guy comes out of the bar with his shotgun as our SWAT team is approaching, and they take a vantage point behind the guy's vehicle. And I'm thinking, all right, well, this is going to go one of 2 ways, right? He's either going to give up or he's going to screw up. Well, I was looking down the barrel of my weapon on the guy. Of course, the SWAT team's got him too. But he lifts the barrel of the shotgun up, and as I'm looking down through my sights, his head explodes.
Holy shit.
He's taken out by the sniper, which is set up across the street. So I would say that's probably the most stressful event that I've ever been through at work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And it was, like I said, it was probably 18, 19 years ago.
Wow. And you still remember, and that's the thing is you still remember it just like it was yesterday. And we all do. We all have those calls,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you too, it really messed me up. It really did. And
well,
I'm not ashamed to admit it. It screwed me up for a while. And here's how it would. I knew the guy. We had responded to calls to his house before, and I knew he was trouble. You know, he would always give us a hard time. Always resisted arrest, you know, and once this happened, it wasn't a surprise. But once it was all over with, here's how it really messed with me. Every time I would close my eyes to go to sleep at night, that's the first image that would pop in my mind.
Yep.
That guy's head. Okay. And that scenario. And it wasn't just whenever I would go to bed at night. It was dumb shit. Like, I'd be in the shower. Okay. Yep. So I got to clean my face. So in order to clean my face, I have to put soap on it, and I have to close my eyes because I don't want to get soap in my eyes. Well, that same image, right? And I don't know. I guess it probably took, I'm just guessing, maybe 3 or 4 months.
Like, what did you do?
It would finally stop.
Like, what did you do? But like, what did you do to like handle that?
You know, I know that I talked to, I wasn't even married at the time. I talked to my fiance about it. I don't even think that I talked to anybody at work. I probably should have. I probably, quite honestly, should have seen some sort of therapist about it, but I didn't. I just, you know, I think to be honest with you, I probably self-medicated, drank alcohol, which is the worst thing you can do.
Yep. But you know, a lot of people do it. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that I had PTSD from it.
Oh, I bet you still do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that with us. And I think, you know, something that, you know, means a lot to me, and I'm sure it's going to mean a lot to whoever's listening right now, is for you to say, yeah, that fucked me up, like bad, you know, because like even just a small, like a call like I didn't have like that situation, but like I handled one of my first fatals was a girl I went to college with. Didn't know her personally, but she went to my college. One of my best friends was her like RA, so I knew of her. And it was she was dead right there. It was awful. The vehicle was flipped on its side. She was hanging out of the vehicle, like I can remember it. And it fucked me up. It really did. Like the next like month, every time I turned around, I thought I saw a fatal crash. Like, you know, like I remember being on the phone with my husband one time, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta let you go. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because it's a 1055 fatal. Oh, yeah. That's our 10 code. I'm like, it's a fatal. And then I called him back, and I'm like, oh my God, it was a reflection. And he's like, are you fucking kidding with me? I'm like, you need help, you know, and so there are things that, you know, obviously that we go through. I do love the fact that you talk to your fiance. I mean, at least you talk to somebody. A lot of us tend to keep it all in. You know, I've done that several times.
Right. So. Well, hey, I'm guilty of it too. And to be honest with you, that's something, believe it or not, that I'm still trying to get comfortable with doing. It's not like I don't want to share things with my wife. But here's the problem that I have, and you might be able to relate. I don't know. You don't need to come home and not communicate with your significant other. You need to communicate with them because they truly care and they want to stay connected with you. But here's the hard part as a law enforcement officer. When shit goes down at work, who do you talk to at the time? You talk to your coworkers, you talk to your superiors, you talk to your subordinates, you talk to whoever it is that you can at the time. Well, it's almost like with me, you talk about it so much at work that by the time I get home, that's the last thing I want to do is talk about that shit even more. But like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get better at it with communicating with my wife about things that have happened at work that she might want to know, you know, just so that she can stay connected with me a little bit better and know what I went through.
100%. And you couldn't have said it any better. I mean, it is like we talk so much about like what's going on with like someone that we work with, a coworker, right, who like fully understands the situation because maybe they're in the situation too. And you come home and you're like, all right, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm like exhausted. I'm pissed off over it or whatever, or not. I'm just don't want to talk about it anymore. And maybe it's like still bugging you. And the one person who knows you better than you know yourself is like, why are you upset? And you're like, I'm not. Like,
Right.
no, you are. No, I'm not.
I can't tell you how many times I've come home and my wife is like, are you okay? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, why are you asking? Well, I don't know. I'm just making sure. Are you sure you're okay? Yes, I'm okay. I promise. You know, it's just, I've talked about it all I can. And I don't even think about it sometimes, but again, like I said, I'm trying to get better at that whole communication thing with, you know, what all's happened at work. And anyway.
No, and I love that. And I really appreciate you making that point, you know, especially as a supervisor, as a male. You know, I talk about it a lot from a female's point of view, even being a female cop, being married to, you know, a cop. But like from a male's point of view, yeah, I mean, it is like you know, you just don't, especially guys, like don't take it the wrong way, but like you guys don't love to talk about everything like we do. Like I could talk till I'm blue in the face about everything.
Yeah.
That's why I have a podcast. But you know, I know my husband, he's like that too. He's like, shit, I already talked about it with so and so, like, and I'm like, you know, just like your wife, I know something is wrong because we don't you know, we don't tend to hide it as well as we think that we do, especially you know, my husband, he made a really good point the other day. We were having a conversation about something and he just said, you know, I have to be this certain way while I'm on duty, right? Like, I need to have a poker face and I need to keep all emotions in check. And he's not like a super emotional guy anyways. But, you know, so when he comes home, you know, he kind of just like lets it all like he lets himself be human. And like that's, you know, and I think that goes along with why your wife can read you so well. And why, like, you know, all of our spouses as us cops, like we think we come home and we still have that poker face on, but in reality, we definitely do not. So, which is good because obviously we need to, you know, let our guard down at some point. So listen, so rumor has it, I want to talk to you about something. So, you know, obviously we have like we talk about stress and stuff like that. And as you and I were kind of talking beforehand, you made a point that I really want to talk about on here. And it's, you know, you talk about like your stress and like how your personality seems to be that you're pretty laid back. You're a pretty laid back supervisor or you're a pretty laid back cop. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, and I think I may have hit on this a little bit earlier too. Earlier on in my career, I'm sure I stressed about everything, you know, constantly wanting to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, that my superiors are proud of the work that I'm producing, and, you know, going to certain calls and not been on certain calls before and just not knowing, you know, how to handle it. You know, once I got there, if I was going to do a good enough job, whatever. But, and I don't know if everybody is like this once they've been in or on the job for X amount of years. But I'll be honest, I don't let things bother me. For one, a lot of things are not controllable that can potentially stress somebody else out. It's just, it's not worth all the stress. It's not worth, you know, working yourself up on. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to be blunt. Some of the guys at work, I'm not a captain. I'm a sergeant, but they call me Captain Fuck It because I just don't let right. I don't let things bother me. They'll come to me and it's like, oh my gosh, did you hear about this? I'm so worried about this. It's like, fuck it. There's nothing you can do about it. Just deal with it. Right. I mean, not in a way to where I'm talking down to them or being degrading or anything. It's just, hey, reality check, deal with it. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I have got to say that I just think we could all learn so much from that, especially as cops, right? Because we come in and we're all type A, you know, oh my God, I got this, I need to have control of this, and this needs to happen this way, and oh my God, you know what I mean? And that's literally, especially when you're a rookie, you know, that's what your brain is thinking, like, you know, is so much. You've got the big checklist to go over, but, you know, especially you being in a supervisory position, being a leader, you know, having the experience on the road to know exactly what you just said. I can't fucking control it. So why am I going to sit here and fucking stress out about it? Because that doesn't make any sense. So I think it's powerful. And Sheepdog Nation, pay attention to that, because I even need to do, I'm definitely very like fucking crazy. And, and I definitely could, you know, take a chapter out of your book, Brandon, because that's huge. And especially in law enforcement, because the truth is we have control of one thing, and that's ourselves. So
That's right.
that's powerful. So we talked about, you know, obviously what you've been through and stressful situations and stuff like that. Like, you know, how do you like, okay, I know that you're a very laid back person, but do you find like when you come home, do you have a routine, or is there something that you know that you do? Maybe you work out, maybe you hang out. I don't know what you do, but is there anything that you find that you have found yourself needing to do at any point in time in your career to help you kind of manage whatever stress or emotions like you are dealing with because of the job?
You know, there probably is something, but I don't know that I necessarily do anything to help out with stress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there is. However, I do have a routine. You know, of course, when I get home, I get out of my monkey suit
Mm-hmm.
and put that away. And one of the first things that I do after that is, you know, I'll say something to my wife if she's at home. You know, how was your day? You know, try to make small talk, and I go and I see my kids. They mean the world to me.
Mm.
Family means the world to me.
Mm.
So just seeing them. Okay, no, I won't get up on that. Anyway, after that, I'll come in and I'll sit down and I'll watch the stupid ass news. Why do I watch the news? Why does anybody want to watch the news? There's never anything good on there, you know. But that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what's going on in the world. But as far as things I might do otherwise that might be a stress reliever, I'll work out. You know, I don't want to go to work and be some wimp and you know, potentially have some guy, hell, or even a woman, challenge me one day and beat my ass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I want to be physically fit the best that I can. Of course, I could always be more fit, but I like to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us guys on my shift, we work out together.
I like that.
We work out together just to help keep everybody motivated. I play golf. It's boring, right? I play golf.
So boring.
Golf is boring, but damn it, if you ever start playing golf, you'll be hooked. So if I've had any trouble with any particular person, like on the streets or anything like that, I'll remember their name.
Mm-hmm.
Write their name on that golf ball. What do you do with the golf ball? You hit that damn thing.
Mm.
So, yeah. So just, you know, that's a little stress reliever, I think.
I like that.
Yeah. But I don't think there's really anything else. I mean, when it's really nice weather, which we haven't had in a while, I like to go to the park and just walk around. You know, it clears my head.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple things like that.
I like it. I like it a lot. And now, so what about like, so you kind of hit on, like, I love the fact that you're like, yeah, you know, I get my shift and we go work out and stuff like that. So could you share with us, is there, like, talk to me a little bit about being like a supervisor, like in the mindset, do you pay attention to, your guys and girls, like their mental health and shit like that? Like, can you talk about that at all? Or like, do you ever, or if you can't talk about that, could you at least talk about, like, maybe if you've ever seen any signs of like stress in like one of your, deputies that you've had to like pull them aside or whatever?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can, if you work, of course, from experience, but once you work with someone long enough, you can read them like a book. And you can tell if something's on their mind, if they're, in a bad mood, if they're angry, if they're extremely happy, or, what their mood is. And there's times when I go to work and we have roll call, and it's a very laid back roll call. It's, gosh, we're so laid back. But we all sit in my office and we have small talk, and there's times when you can just look at somebody and it's not just me, it's everybody. And there's like, okay, something's wrong with that person right there. And it's the elephant in the room. And usually I'll just say, hey, do you want to talk? Or, do you want me and you to go somewhere? Or do you want to talk about this as a group? 9 times out of 10, we'll just talk about it as a group. We're like a family. There's not that many people on a shift where I work. As a matter of fact, there's a sergeant and 6 deputies. And we patrol 620, give or take, square miles in this county.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, there's other, deputies out there that are assigned to different units. But as far as stress and in, seeing somebody going through something and whatever, we just address it. We talk about it. As a matter of fact, there's times when sometimes what we do at the end of the day is we make little videos.
Is that what you put on your Instagram?
Yeah. And I've got a couple of guys on the shift. They're just funny. But I don't necessarily know that we do that to relieve stress, but it definitely makes everybody laugh. So I don't know.
No, I love that. And I love the team building atmosphere. It seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if you probably can't even beg to differ with me, but it really kind of sounds like, you do have a really good, the thin blue line is real. It kind of sounds like on your shift, like you just said, like we're a family, and I like that. And I think we need more of that.
We're thick.
I like it. I like it. Because you probably haven't had an opportunity to, but my latest podcast episode, which by the time this will come out will be a couple episodes back, but like I really kind of just went off on this topic recently because the shit that I've experienced. And so what I want to say is to like your deputies, like they need to know, and they're probably going to bust your balls for this, but like they need to know like how thankful they need to be for you and the atmosphere that you guys have all created together, because that is not what it's like in every police department. That's not what it's like on every single shift either, and I love that team atmosphere, and that in itself tends to reduce stress,
Absolutely. It does.
And reduce issues. So, yeah, good on you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
So, just to wrap this up a little bit, do you have any advice that you'd give to any rookie cops just starting out?
There's probably a lot of things that I could say to rookies that's just starting out. Probably one of the first things that I would say, and I'm not going to, they're not in any order of importance, but check your damn ego at the door, right? You're no better than anybody else. We're all on the same team. We all want the same end result. So check your ego at the door. Do you remember what it was like your very first shift that you ever worked? Especially once you got out of FTO. your uniform was probably as creased as it could be.
Oh, yes.
Your boots were clean, polished.
Oh, yes.
You looked good. You were proud of that uniform. You were so proud of yourself and what you were about to do. Keep doing that.
Yep.
Keep doing that.
Yep.
Your appearance will go a long way, a very long way. Gosh.
You know, just to expand upon that, if you don't mind, that's huge. And because, you know, when here's the thing, especially in law enforcement, like it's so easy for us to obviously to get negative and to ride that negative wavelength. Like we can do that. We talked about that. But like when we need like an easy way to help yourself start feeling like a little bit better about yourself and like things is it simply is to make your appearance, step it up, and do that, do exactly what you're saying, stay crisp and don't lose that, it's huge.
Yeah. To kind of piggyback off of that, always try to do your best to keep a positive mental attitude. And don't get caught up in the negativity that just runs rampant in a lot of departments. It's unfortunate, but it's there. Try your best to leave personal issues at home. Try not to take that shit to work with you. It could really, 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 really mess you up. Yep. Another thing that's very important, and it's a sad reality of being in this career, is just you need to understand that over time you will become desensitized to almost every single human emotion possible.
Yep, true that.
And there's nothing wrong with you when this happens, or if it happens. Hopefully it won't, but there's nothing wrong with you. It happens. Don't be too prideful to tell someone if something that you witnessed at work on a call just shook you to your core. We care about you. We love you. We care about your mental health and talk to people. PTSD is a real thing, and we're losing a lot of brothers and sisters because of it. And just don't be too prideful to talk to somebody about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and don't let the job consume you.
Go play golf.
Yeah, go hit golf balls.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's seriously good advice. And I definitely appreciate that. And you heard it, Sheepdog Nation, coming from the sergeant. Sergeant's giving his orders, so you know what that means. You gotta listen. So, thank you very much, Sgt Harris. We really appreciate it. Before we leave, is there anything else that you want to just say? Leave Sheepdog Nation with anything else before we wrap this up?
The sheriff that we have currently, during his first campaign, and don't worry, I'm not getting all political and shit on you, but one of the mottos that he had during his campaign really stuck with me, and it's still with me today, and that is, leave people better than you found them. Right? So a lot of times when we come in contact with people, they're at their lowest low. Leave them better than you found them. Go that extra mile. You know what you can do to lift somebody up. Do it. Don't talk down to those people. You're no better than they are. And try to leave them better than you found them, and get home safe.
Yep. Get home safe. I love both of that. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being here. This was a kick-ass episode. I'm really excited for everyone to hear it. And everyone, okay, if any of you want to see those funny videos, which I think we all do, if you're not already following Sgt Harris on Instagram, you can go and literally, it's Sgt Harris, right? That's literally what it is. That's his handle. And it will be in the show notes as well. All right. Well, Thank you very much. And we will see you, Sheepdog Nation, in the next episode.
And that was another episode of Sheepdog Nation. If you enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes and let us know by giving us a rating. If you have questions that you want answered by Autumn in the podcast, submit it by going to the link in the show notes. As always, stay safe and watch your six.